sometimes you might need to be completely unbalanced. It's not that you are taking care of all of the responsibilities of work. It's that you are taking care of the one thing that's most important,
Yep.
and realizing that if you drop the ball on some other tasks or some other important things, that's going to be okay. That's going to be just a reality of life.
Hello and welcome to Pillars of Wealth Creation, where we talk about creating financial success with a special focus on business and real estate. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. Now, let's get to it. Are you ready to start investing in real estate today but don't know where to start? Sometimes investing can seem way too complicated, but it actually couldn't be any easier than with HomeInvest.com. You know the co-founder and my friend Nate Armstrong. He appeared on episode 20, and if you haven't heard it, go back and listen to it, episode number 20. Home Invest is a company that allows you to invest in turnkey real estate. Their goal is to build powerful investment tools that make real estate investing accessible to everyone. They have contractors and property managers available for you with the click of your mouse. While other real estate agents can only offer a property, Home Invest brings you a full turnkey package that allows you to diversify your investments, earn passive income, and start building equity in properties. Their simple, intuitive design allows newcomers and experienced investors alike to hit the ground running and to be able to choose the properties when they want and where they want. View easy to understand charts and data to allow you to buy in only a few clicks or just a simple phone call. With Home Invest, you'll be building your portfolio as quickly or as slowly as you would like. And right now, Home Invest is giving our listeners, Pillar of Wealth Creation listeners, a free course on how to finally win in real estate investing. So go to homeinvest.com/pillars. That's homeinvest.com/pillars. to claim your free course today. Hello and welcome back to Pillars of Wealth Creation. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. With me as always is John Stiles with Bridge Realty. John, how are you doing today?
Doing great today, Todd. How about yourself?
I am fantastic. Enjoying the beautiful weather and just, 2019, we're already, 20 some days into it. And just trying to make sure I'm on track. It's easy to just let the days go by. And so I've just been trying to make sure I'm on track. So I've been trying to hold myself accountable for what I'm doing every single day and keep on holding myself accountable. I think that's really important. All of a sudden the year will be done and you'll go, oh man, I didn't quite do what I wanted to do. And that's nobody's fault except your own. So.
Yeah, you're right. It is starting to fly by already. So, got to stay on track.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, we're almost 1/12 of the way through the year, right? And we got 11 months only left to go. So,
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of what we're going to be talking about today is the book called The One Thing with Gary Keller and is it Jay Papasan?
I believe so.
And the book really has made me think. I listened to it previously. I've now listened to it for a third time, and it really has started to make me think like, okay, I need to start focusing more on the one thing. And so that's what I've been doing lately, is really focusing on the one thing, the thing that I need to do in order to really try to help explode my business, and spending the majority of my day on one type of task to allow me to get to my one thing, my one goal. So I think that's really important. I've been very purposefully time blocking. It's difficult because I haven't done it before to this extent. And so I'm trying to block everything out, like all the emails, all the phone calls, all the other like garbage that comes around during the day. I'm trying to block that out for my specific time frame so I'm not interrupted whatsoever during that time. And I know, John, you've been doing that as well. How has that been going for you?
Time blocking you're asking about?
Well, you have a goal of making a certain amount of contacts a day.
Yep.
How has that been going for you? Have you been able to block the other noise out and really focus on that, or is it distracting? Is it hard?
I would say it's every day it's a challenge.
Yeah.
Every day there's distractions that come in, and it's it's difficult to, like, ideally you can turn off the phone, turn off the email, have nobody knock on your door, none of that. But the reality is there are distractions. Other people are trying to interrupt you, just like in my case, I'm trying to interrupt other people.
Yep.
Um, so the first 2 or 3 weeks of the year here, I've been on pace for my goals. This week in particular, I'm falling behind, and I'm yeah, because as the book talks about, and we can get into maybe some of the
Yeah.
details of the book here. You know, the main question I would say that the whole book revolves around is, what is the one thing that you can do, that if you do that thing, everything else will be easier or irrelevant.
Hmm.
And he spends a lot of time, developing that question and expounding upon what that really means. But, for me, I've decided that my one thing is outbound prospecting. I need to be making more contacts with people, and consistently doing that.
Yep.
And I've talked about that in the past, that right now my goal is 25 calls a day, or 25 reaches. Sometimes they're not phone calls, but I'll call them calls. Um, but other things come up. So when I've got a buyer who, you know, we need to schedule a home inspection, or we need to review um, the association bylaws, or, there's a lot of other important things that come up and try to distract me from my one thing.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. It's an ongoing challenge because I've got the same thing going on. I've got a lot of people that try to distract me throughout the day. And it's not like anybody's doing like maliciously, I'm going to distract him during his
Of
time
course.
block period. But I think the more we really own that time and that's our state, right? It's not our strategy, it's our state. Like that is what we do from, whatever time it is, from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. We are doing our calls. Like that
Mhm.
is our focus and
Yep.
that is all we're doing. And I don't care if somebody else has something that they want me to do. It's during my time that I've already got I've already got it scheduled. And I think Gary Keller and Jay Papasan in the book, they talk about that, how the most successful business leaders, CEOs, they they don't they've got a calendar, right? And it's scheduled and they've got their own time that they're working on their business and working on their one thing. They don't just let anybody come in and interrupt their calendar that day. Now there's going to be some times where you probably have to make some adjustments, but it's not like it's every day, once a week even, that you have to make adjustments. It should be very rare that you're interrupting that time that you're dedicating to the one thing that's going to make your business um, explode in growth.
Yeah, and I guess I would compare myself now to what I used to be. I used to really idealize multitasking, and I even, like, in my little bio on a website of the past company, I actually put, I'm a great multitasker, or something along those lines. Um, and and then I've slowly, even before reading this book, I slowly discovered that that was like a terrible idea. You
Yeah.
know, you
No.
you actually can't multitask. You actually just switch back and forth, even if it's very quickly, from doing one thing to doing the other thing.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and so that's where deciding what your one thing is, and then deciding that you're not going to allow yourself to be distracted and multitask on so many other things. That's where that's just so important.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us think we can multitask, and that's like it used to be. It seems like, especially not very long ago, um, something people pride themselves on. A lot of people pride themselves on. I'm a great multitasker,
Right.
and now, especially after reading this book and learning more about multitasking, that's actually, to me, if somebody says I'm a great multitasker, I say, okay, well, they're not efficient at anything they do. They think they can do a lot of stuff, but they can't do anything really well, and they
Yep.
can't concentrate. So what I'm a good multitasker to me relates to is that you're saying I can't figure out how to concentrate, and I can't figure out how to, prioritize my day. That's what multitasking means.
Right.
So yeah, you're right, and he talks quite a bit about that during the book, and like you can't do that. It's just not possible. What else did you take from the book, John, that you really liked from?
Again, it's just one of those things where there's so much packed into it, and I'm on my second time listening through it to try to pull out more. um he talked about balance being a myth, and that was a lot of the things there's a lot of myths that he tried to um debunk. But the idea of having a work-life balance, or the idea of just having a balanced work-life period, um, he talked about, instead of saying that, consider that you have a counterbalance, um, or basically when you are doing something, whether it's you're doing what you need to do for work,
Yep.
sometimes you might need to be completely unbalanced. It's not that you are taking care of all of the responsibilities of work. It's that you are taking care of the one thing that's most important,
Yep.
and realizing that if you drop the ball on some other tasks or some other important things, that's going to be okay. That's going to be just a reality of life. Um, Now, on the other hand, when it comes to things that are important in your personal life, such as your family relationships, your health, um, and other things, he said, have a shorter time frame of focus on those things, so that in those aspects of your life, though, you're going to be focused on those one things, but you actually are going to switch between them. So you're going to switch and be focused on your family relationships, and then you're going to switch and get focused on maybe exercising. You're going to switch, focus on eating healthy. And
Yep.
so that's just an interesting way to think about balance there. What did you take about that section?
Well, yeah, I mean, you're still focusing on like the one thing, but you're focusing on that one thing at that particular time, right? And
Hmm.
so, and that's kind of, I think, the point that I got out of it is like, yeah, look, I mean, it's if you're working on your business, that's what you're focused on.
Yep.
You're If you're with your family, that's what you should be focused on. Like, if you're wanting to get in physical shape, like that is what you need to be focusing on. And but at that particular time, you're focusing on the one thing that you need to do in order to do that. So um yeah, and I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's so easy for us to think, well, I'm going to do some business while, and I'm very guilty of this. So I need to work on this a lot more. But I've got family time with my kids and my wife, and I pull out my phone and check my emails and maybe answer a couple emails or text messages, and all of a sudden my kids are making a comment about me being on my phone, or my wife is, or whatever, or they're doing something, and I'm just distracted because I'm focusing on all of a sudden my business when I should be focusing on my family. And that's not good for anybody. That's not good for my business because I'm not putting full attention and focus on that. So sometimes I will make a mistake or send an email and I shouldn't have sent it quite so quickly, whatever that is, or and it's like, and that's not fair for my family either. Like, if I'm going to spend time with them, I need to spend that dedicated time and to be fully immersed with them versus, spending kind of half time with them.
Hmm. Yeah, I've totally been there. In the family, the kids, they totally notice if you're not paying attention, if you're physically there but mentally not engaging with them. Um, so one of the things I sometimes try to do is just put my phone in my room away from where we're at, and put aside that distraction, because there's so many things, whether it's work or Facebook. Have you ever looked for the bottom of Facebook? It's
Right. Doesn't look
it's
good.
not there.
Right. Yeah, it's just easy to get distracted, and I think you're right. You put your phone in a different room and be focused on whatever that is at hand. They've got. I was hearing about some restaurants now that have a phone check, where you go to the restaurant, you need to spend some time with the people that you're actually with. So
Yeah.
instead of being on your phones the whole time, they make you check your phone at the door.
Yep.
I thought, oh, that's a pretty good idea, and it just shows you where we are as a society. We go on a date with our significant other, and all of a sudden we're, instead of having a good conversation with them, we're both checking the whatever the score of the game or the internet or Facebook or whatever it is, and we're distracted. We're just spending that quality time with each other, focusing
Right.
on the
Yep.
one thing.
And it's really helpful to put in those type of forced, I don't know what to call them, but just forced boundaries that prevent those distractions.
Yep.
He talked about having that our minds are willing to switch what they're focused on every 14 seconds. And so that's, I guess, that you might call that our attention span. So if you're sitting there, talking to your spouse at dinner, and then there's a little lull in the conversation, within 14 seconds, you're going to think, well, what's on my phone, um, but if your phone's not there to grab, then you can just reorientate yourself to that conversation and what's most important with that setting right there.
Hey, I want to interrupt this episode real quick to talk to you about Nate Armstrong, our sponsor, Nate Armstrong. He's with homeinvest.com, and you want to get to know Nate. So go to homeinvest.com and just connect with Nate, talk to him, learn about his operation, what he's got going on. He's a turnkey provider, and it may not be right for you, but it could be the perfect fit. So it doesn't hurt. It's a free call, consultation, just to figure out, what they do, what they have to offer. And worst case is you're going to meet a great person who's really well educated in real estate. He's done a ton of different real estate strategies, and probably is going to teach you a little bit, even on a short conversation with him. So go to homeinvest.com and connect with Nate's company. You're definitely not going to be disappointed. It's worth it. So thanks, and we'll get back to our show. Yeah, and again, it's about owning your state or your story, right? I mean, that when it's family time, and that's what you do. When it's business time, it's business time, and that's what you focus on. And when it's time to exercise, that's what you focus on, and so on. And if you can own your story and your state, that's going to be a lot more important. I mean, this book it's honestly, it's very simple, right? It's about doing the one thing. This could be a blog post that took up, a one page, that could be it, two paragraphs or even two sentences. But the importance of the book is that it's difficult to do. Like, the concept is simple,
Right.
and the reason why it's a full book is because it's difficult to do. So he hammers home the same point over and over, but through different kind of contexts and different strategies, and trying to change your state and your story. And so that's where the book, I think, is really powerful to actually read. So for me, if anybody hasn't read it, obviously we're talking about it because we both enjoy it. And for me, it's become pretty pretty important part of my business this year, and just trying to continue to grow my business. And I think is going to be very helpful in that aspect as well.
Yep. I would say another important thing that it touches on is the idea of willpower.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we think that, well, if there's something difficult that I got to do, but I know I've got to do it, I'll just will my way through it.
Yeah.
So, and to an extent, that can work. However, he talks a lot about how willpower is not always available, depending on the distractions or depending on our physical state, our mental state. If we've eaten well that day, we might not have enough willpower to do what we need to do. So I think his big point with that is, use willpower when you can, but aside from that, use habits, use scheduling, put things in place so that even when you don't have your willpower available, you can still do your one thing that you need to.
Yep. Yep. I've been reading another book. It's called 5 4 3 2 1. I think it's called. It's called the 5 second rule. But the main point is you go 5 4 3 2 1, like, and that's kind of resetting your willpower. When we lose our willpower, like let's say we're scheduled to go for a run or something during the day, and you get into your day, and all of a sudden it's like, whatever, I'm not going to go for a run. And the point of the book is you go 5 4 3 2 1, run, and you reset your mindset to go, okay, I'm ready, I'm going to do that. So that was a totally different book, and maybe we'll talk about that one in the future, but I thought that was really good too, in resetting your kind of your willpower, because as you said, it's so easy to lose your willpower. We don't have as much willpower as I think most of us would like to think we have.
Mm-hmm.
We always think that, I think the other thing is we think other people have so much willpower, like, oh, wow, you did that. Like, how did you do that? That's great. You've got so much willpower. And so we want to have that willpower, but there's maybe different tactics and different strategies they used to accomplish that quote unquote powerful willpower.
Yeah. Well, and he talks about it being every time that you need to use your willpower, you have less of it.
Yeah.
So you need to plan out your day where the most important things happen first, so that you're using your willpower then. And then hopefully you complete that most important thing so that when you run out of willpower, you've got other things to do which are less important.
Yep. Yeah. And that's exactly why it's important to do the one thing, focus on that first, which is, that's exactly what I've been doing. I've got my morning routine now that I've been pretty committed to. And then beyond that, for me, I have to get my kids ready and on the bus, and then I do my one thing. And then that's what I focus on for the next 3 hours is my one thing. And even then it's easy to lose focus. It's still not extremely easy, but at least if I do it then, I've found that I'm a lot more focused on it. Before, I would have all these things that I needed to do during the day, and I would put those down, and then I would try to find time for my one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that just doesn't work. You don't get to it, or you do just a little bit of it, and then you get distracted, and whatever else happens, and the day goes on, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh crap, I didn't do that today. Well, I'll do it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another thing he talked about, having a task list or a to-do list. And it's if we I could make a to-do list that's pages and pages long of things that I could and should do,
Right.
but you know, and then how do you organize them, and how do you prioritize them?
Yep.
But lately, as I've been trying to focus on my one thing, I've I've given up on to-do lists. And he talks about having a success list.
Yep.
Same thing with this is related but different. My email inbox. It used to be my goal to keep my inbox at 0. And that was a pretty impossible thing to do, but at least I kept it close. There's always incoming. Now, there's over 1,000 messages in my inbox, which is part of me that's just, I can't stand it. But I've given up on replying to emails as soon as they come in.
Right. Right. I got to check my inbox. I probably have like 10,000, I'm sure.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy because you get so many emails. I've got 5,477 unread emails in my inbox. Unread emails. And I mean, a lot of it's because I just don't spend the time to do that. And I try to only hit on the important ones, and the rest of them, they go to the wayside. And I'm not a big click and delete type person, so a lot of them just sit in my email. So yeah, for me, I'm sorry if I haven't answered your email if you sent it to me, but I've got 5,477 I got to get to. So eventually I might get to yours.
Right. Well, and that's on a kind of unrelated but related topic. For those that are participating in email marketing, I think that shows you that email can be effective at reaching people, but at the on the same token, people like us who have given up on reading and responding to all emails, you may not reach us by email.
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, email marketing's okay, but to me, you have to have some sort of like warm lead to them already. They have to want your information. For me, like I get a lot of those repeat emails from whatever. I've got a lot of investor friends that send out emails and stuff like that, and rarely do I ever read them. No offense to my investor friends, but it's you're only going to read something if you're really, really interested in it, and it really is going to make a positive difference for you. And so I think you have to, like, I send them out too. I send out quarterly updates. I try to send them a little more frequently than that, but I know that not everybody's going to read them. And when I look at the results on it, you might have 3/4 of people click on them, but then when you really look at the engagement of it, you realize that maybe only at a third at the best actually took time to look at your stuff, click on it, and actually look at it and read it. Some of the email marketing, we're getting off on the tangent. I am. Some of the email marketing actually works just because you made that contact. Like they saw your name, whether they read it or not, they saw your name and they recognize you. And that way, when you do reach out to them to get business, for me, it's like for my investors, a lot of times, or for people who want to do coaching, it's, if they've seen my name over and over, they're going to recognize my name. And that way, when they are ready to make a decision or when a property does come to invest in, they're going to be a lot more likely to engage with me during that time if I have constantly had contact, whether they've actually read my stuff or not. Obviously, if they read it, they're even more contacted, but whether they've done it or not, they at least have my name in their inbox and they can see it. And that way, when that opportunity does come, or when you decide, hey, I do want to have a coach to help me along the way, my name is one that is kind of first of mind.
Yeah, I agree. And I also have, an email newsletter type of thing. Yeah. It serves a purpose, but it just, I guess my point is it can't be the only way that
The only way
that you reach out to people.
Nope. So anything else, John, from this book that you want to hit on?
Yeah, I think one final thing I would say is it asks the question: are you doing things to the best of your ability, or the best that that thing can be done? And maybe if you're already doing things to the best of your ability, maybe you need to stretch yourself by focusing on the one thing, so that you can grow and actually do better than you could before. So I don't know if that all makes sense, but that was just one of the things I took out of this book. So
Yeah, and that when you say that, it reminds me of he was talking about employees, and like he had this business that was doing well, but it just like his business was doing well, but he was so stressed out and like things were actually crumbling on him, and he hired a business coach um, to look at his business, and basically it was, look, we need to hire 14 people and or change slash hire 14 people, and that's going to make the difference in your business. So sometimes in your business it's not necessarily you know uh, that you need to do more. A lot of times we need to do less, so you can focus on your one thing, and you have other people that can focus on their one things to really truly make it successful. So I think that was a point that he made in the book that I was like, wow, that's very powerful. Something I need to definitely work on, because I try to focus on trying to do too much. I think most of us are kind of like that, where we think we can do it all. We maybe can. Like I can do most of it all myself, but I'm not then focusing on that one thing, which is going to make my business truly grow.
yep. So it's a really powerful book, and definitely worth reading a couple of times, so you can really have it sink in and change the way you think about how you're approaching, whether it is business or life or family or whatever aspect you need to improve at.
Yep. Like I said in the beginning, I've listened to it 3 times now over the last probably year. I've listened to it 2 times over the last probably month and a half. Um, there's I've got an Audible subscription, and I'll actually probably cancel it shortly, because you only need so many books, and I want to instead of buying more and more books or getting more and more books, I want to go back and listen to the same books that I've listened to 2 or 3 or 4 times. Same thing with my bookshelf. I've got all these books, and I decided I'm going to stop buying books, and I'm going to start reading the books for a second or third time. Um, a lot of times it's good to hear the same thing again, and you pick out so much more. Every time I listen to this book, I pick out so much more. I'll probably just continue to make it a goal to listen to it at least once a year. Refocus yourself. So anybody who hasn't listened to it, pick it up. The one thing with Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. That's my plug for them. I should probably get some. We should probably get some commissions for this, John.
Yeah, maybe there's an Amazon link we can put in there.
There you go. Get some affiliate money.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, well, to our listeners and to our viewers, we'd like to hear from you if you've read this book, The One Thing, and what was your big takeaway from it? How has that changed your thinking or changed your life? So the best place to have that discussion is probably on our Facebook page, Pillars of Wealth Creation. Otherwise, you can go ahead and comment on the YouTube video. And while you're at it, be sure to go to the iTunes page and give us a rating and review of this episode.
Cool. Awesome. Um, Also, I wanted to mention I'm starting to ramp up my coaching. I've taken on a few clients, and I want to continue to do that. So anybody who's interested in that, or maybe you know somebody who might be interested in that, feel free to reach out to me on that as well. And I'd love to have a conversation with you on that. So I think that's it, John. That's it for me.
Sounds good. Well, we will see everybody next week.
Awesome, man. Have a good rest of the day. Make every day Saturday. Are you ready to start investing in real estate today but don't know where to start? Sometimes investing can seem way too complicated, but it actually couldn't be any easier than with homeinvest.com. You know the co-founder and my friend Nate Armstrong. He appeared on episode 20, and if you haven't heard it, go back and listen to it, episode number 20. Home Invest is a company that allows you to invest in turnkey real estate. Their goal is to build powerful investment tools that make real estate investing accessible to everyone. They have contractors and property managers available for you with the click of your mouse. While other real estate agents can only offer a property, Home Invest brings you a full turnkey package that allows you to diversify your investments, earn passive income, and start building equity in properties. Their simple, intuitive design allows newcomers and experienced investors alike to hit the ground running and to be able to choose the properties when they want and where they want. View easy to understand charts and data to allow you to buy in only a few clicks or just a simple phone call. With Home Invest, you'll be building your portfolio as quickly or as slowly as you would like. And right now, Home Invest is giving our listeners, Pillar of Wealth Creation listeners, a free course on how to finally win in real estate investing. So go to homeinvest.com/pillars. That's homeinvest.com/pillars to claim your free course today.